you did. You said I'm demoting them to a hype league. But can
Yeah,
you imagine
they need to get
the
some.
one of the Paul brothers, Logan Paul or the other one, Paul, buying a team? What will happen to the league? It's the XFL 3.0, 3.0, but the USFL exists now for
For 2 years. The restart or the rebranding or whatever you want to call it. It's 2022 was the first year.
of the USFL.
Yeah. Before that, you had the USFL 1.0 in the 80s.
Yeah,
Um, but that generation of USFL has nothing to do with the new one. So it's a total different organization, totally different branding. They bought the rights, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
So it's a totally different entity. Let's call it that way.
yeah. So I do think I bet I would put my money on the XFL.
And it's more exciting as well.
It's like college football. It has a vibe of college football, more exciting.
It's
I generally
exciting. Yeah. New rules. Did you know that they signed a R&D deal with the NFL?
R&D for what the XFL did.
Hmm.
The R&D for what? What will they
Rules,
be? Oh, that's
development of
interesting.
safety.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So maybe you've not you've not watched any games, but the kickoffs are very different here.
Yeah, that I know. That I know because of their marketing.
Oh, so that has worked. If they reached you with that marketing, that means there is hope. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's one step. It might give me one. It might help, but it's like football, for example. I only started watching the NFL recently when Baker Mayfield started playing, and I because before that I was more into NBA, and it was during Baker's rookie season where I actually started watching, but that was purely due to the player. Same goes for, well, I never watched the Jackson State football football games, but HBCU got put on the map due by Deion Sanders. Can you
Definitely.
imagine Deion Sanders in the XFL?
No.
What he will do? I can't either.
No.
But just imagine what he can. But
That's
just imagine what he can do. Yo, you're making fun of the XFL being a hype league. Can you
Who?
imagine? Well, you did. You said I'm demoting them to a hype league. But can
Yeah.
you imagine
They need to get
the
some.
the Paul the one of the Paul brothers, Logan Paul or the other one, Paul, buying a team? What will happen to the team, to the league? The
Hey man.
marketing, hey, it's a completely different game. People, these people get, so these celebrities get more for their fights than actual fighters, like the professional fighters.
Well, apparently Logan didn't get paid by force, but on paper they get more.
On
You
paper,
know
they get,
what?
yeah, but
They get Ugats.
so I think you shouldn't
Maybe Pat
underestimate it.
McAfee should buy a show, man. Buy a show.
But
I want to say Pat McAfee show, but maybe Pat McAfee should get a XFL team.
yeah, well, I don't
Imagine
know.
Pat McAfee having a team.
Yeah, that would be
That
that.
would be that would be crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to see that. By the way, shout out
No,
to
but
Pat.
yeah, probably. But I mean, I don't know what deal he has. McAfee has, or the show
But
has
that's also, of course.
with the NFL, but you can imagine that that might play a role, right? Maybe there's an exclusivity of some sorts. I don't know. that might limit him from being able to. Maybe not. I don't know what a
That's a
contract.
good. That's a good. That's a good
What,
way. That's a good remark, by the way. That's an interesting remark. I don't think. I don't think. To be honest, I don't think NFL sees XFL as a threat.
I don't think so either, but they don't cross each other. USFL does see the XFL as a threat.
Well, they cross each other literally.
Like it's XFL just declared war. Like, okay, you're starting in
We're gonna
April.
play.
We're gonna start.
Our
Yeah,
playoffs are doing your start of the season.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, so
Couple
it's
of rules, man.
so yeah. I think let's see what will happen.
I think in general, the reason for the bad start is basically the timing. I would say you would say timing was kind of, but I think the bigger thing is they're trying to build it up rather than making a splash at the first.
Yeah, yeah, and they're not competing. I think that's you make a valid point. They're not, although it's still called XFL 3.0, they do regard it as a startup. So they are in their first year.
Yeah.
And they use the XFL because they hope because people know the XFL.
Mhm.
They have The Rock. That definitely that will I think that was a good choice. But and they're competing against the USFL, not the NFL.
No,
And
you're
so
right.
with and when you take that into account, I believe they made a good choice. And come on, KR, they had to choose between they had to choose between starting later with the hopes that they could build up the games, the hype for the games. So a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl instead of right after the Super Bowl, with the risk that they would have to compete extra hard against the USFL because because both leagues would need to start or try to get momentum simultaneously,
Yeah.
or that was the one choice, or do as they did, start in a time that perhaps wasn't optimal, but so optimal with regards to getting the most views for the first show, but still optimal for their competition against the USFL. And I think it was they chose the latter because that was the best strategy for their position in the let's say uh, for their situation.